I've only recently stumbled upon the gold mine, which is discovering tower defense developers as narcissists. It's really fun to see how people that try and say, we love our community, we are here for you, then behind closed doors talk about how terrible they are and how much they can get away with. What I'm referring to is the future of Anime Crusaders, under the direction of their lead developer, Alan. Now, I'm going to be talking and reiterating a lot of stuff from a video posted by content creator Balake. Please go subscribe to him. Please go watch his videos. He's hilarious. Balake recently posted a video about a week ago how during the Eisen update for Anime Crusaders, the part 2 of the Bleach update, he got banned live while streaming his grind by Alan for criticizing the game. I was watching the live stream myself, and I can tell you right now, in no way did Balake insult Alan. He was giving genuine, honest advice that a lot of people feel about Anime Crusaders and its unoriginality and its boring grind. It's repetitive, it's not really rewarding, and it's the same thing over and over and over per update. And in result of this, of course, as his video states, he was banned. Alan saw that criticism and banned him. Balake started complaining. Alan then responds, it's a joke ban. No. Join me in VC. They go into a VC together. They start talking, and a lot of stuff gets revealed. Turns out Alan isn't a nice guy. Alan is what I would describe as the worst developer of modern day versus Brandon Ha as the worst developer in history. Kind of the Gojo and Sukuna picture, where you put Alan and you put Brandon Ha. Now, Alan, this is not to say that you are genuinely the worst person. I just saw this in one of Balake's comments, and I started laughing, and I thought I'd use this for this video. And it's probably going to be my thumbnail as well. So let's just break this down. Anime Crusaders has a couple of main issues. Their grind, like I said, very boring, very repetitive. It's the same thing per update. You look at a Christmas update, you look at the Halloween update, you look at, I don't even know, when was the last time? I think the last time that there was something original in this game was genuinely the first update with solo leveling, where you did the dungeon raids. I do believe that was the last true unique piece of content that this game has ever had. I thought that was interesting. It was a complete ripoff of Anime Adventures Sakamoto's Day with the contracts. Well, it's basically the contracts. If you guys have played or not played Tower Defenses long enough, every game has the same couple set of game modes. There are contracts, portals, raids, boss rushes, legend stages, story stages. No one really ever tries to veer outside of those. There are a couple few instances, but no one really dares to think outside of that box. But Anime Crusaders takes that a step further and puts a box inside of the box. So let's look at, for example, their Bleach update. Their Bleach update was the same thing as their One Piece update, where you have legend stages, you have a raid, you have portals from Infinite. In the Bleach update, you grind Infinite, you get a portal, you grind for Yamamoto. Then you do the raid, you get Stark. But you have to do the legend stage for both of them in order to get the currency to evolve them. Then you look at the One Piece update, because in the One Piece update, you do the same thing. Infinite, you get a portal, you get Law, then you go to the raid, you get Katakuri, yada yada, legend stage, bang bang boom, now you have to evolve them. There's nothing unique about it. It's the same thing over and over again. There's no originality. And now we look at the boss rushes, because the boss rushes are also boring. They're just a macro grind, it's terrible, and it's not fun. The Eisen grind, as I was watching for Balake, this dude, I sat through his stream for like an hour and a half, which is what it sucks. An hour and a half, he didn't even get halfway to pity doing this Eisen stage, and then got banned in the middle of it. For the Eisen stage, if you haven't played it or you just don't want to do it, you need to get this, I think it's like a 30 pity, I want to say. 30 pity for one of the Evo materials. Then you have to go do the legend stages to get his second evolution, but then you have to come back to the boss rush in order to get the other currency that you need, which it doesn't increase off of scaling. It sucks. It's so goddamn boring. And then we're going to talk about, what was it? Balake makes a good point. Trait rerolls and pity are really confusing and not as rewarding. This is the first thing that Balake was talking about in his stream or video with Alan. Balake makes the argument that most people agree with, that the current pity system in Crusaders is miserable. Not in the sense that it's bad, but that there's no quality of life to it. The most basic quality of lives. And by that I mean a gauge to tell you where your pity's at. Like, seriously. That's such a primitive feature, and Crusaders can't have that? Why? Why not? Well, Alan makes the argument that when you hide the pity, and then you eventually roll Crusader on your unit, you get a dopamine rush that is only felt by the most degenerate of gamblers. He doesn't say degenerate of gamblers, but he says it gives you a dopamine rush. That is so stupid, Alan. That is so stupid. You run a kid's game. You do not need to be, like, causing people to develop gambling habits at the age of 10, at the age of 15. That's so stupid. You should be displaying a goddamn gauge above your pity in order for people to know if they need to switch the unit they want to roll on. I am someone, for who example, rolls the EXP trait on all of the units I plan on leveling up beforehand. And this is usually for most of the event units, because I then bring them into the portal stages, like for Christmas, in order to get a higher currency boost, and I could use them. But Alan says no. You do not need to know where your pity is. And to make matters worse, you don't know what the pity is in general. You don't know if it's 1,000 rerolls or 2,000 rerolls. Alan wants to keep it vague, because that way you can't mathematically calculate where you're at in the pity. You can't keep track. You don't know where it is. And that's such a big issue. In a game which doesn't really give you rerolls, right? Rerolls are a scarcity. Because Anime Crusaders is a ripoff, or the part 2 of Anime Adventures, where they have your regular reroll shards and your reroll tokens. So whatever you see in event shops, divide that by 2, and that's how many rerolls you can get. So, for example, if I just got myself a new Luffy and Kaido Crusader rarity unit, I want to roll on them. I have 600 rerolls saved up from the past 3 updates because, you know, there's been no point in evolving any of those. I dump them in. I get no trait. Great. I just put 600 rerolls into this unit. I don't know how many rerolls I've put into other units beforehand. But now, what is this? You know, we're transitioning into the Bleach update. Oh my god. Aizen is so much better than Luffy and Kaido. But I still want to get Crusader on them because they're a 1 placement Crusader unit. Well, now I don't know if I want to roll on Aizen, because I don't know where I am in this pity. I don't know if I'm close or I'm not, if I should keep investing or I should just switch to a different unit. It's a mental game. It's stupid. I shouldn't be doing mental gymnastics to roll on my unit. That's so silly. Change that. I've taken a middle school coding class for like STEM. It's not hard to set up. I did it on a basic app. I made a fake phone, and all you have to do is put in like a single block code command that gives you a display. You already have it for your banners. Why not put it for your trait rerolls in a game that is basically Crusader reliant? And if your unit doesn't need Crusader, there's no real point in using them. I'm just going to be honest. Because content is so power crept now that units are basically becoming unusable in the next update. So next, what do I want to talk about? Well, it's the fact that Alan is a very hostile developer, complete narcissist. And I hope he takes these words to heart. And I also hope that he never finds this video or hears anything that I'm saying. Alan essentially was double downing on his ban for Balakay. Because Balakay says, listen, Alan, I gave you honest criticism. I want your game to succeed, but you don't listen to what anyone says. And Alan says, listen, I know you mean well, but if I were to keep you permanently banned, and then I were to ban every one of your subscribers from my game, it would be unchanged. Nothing would happen. I wouldn't care because my game would keep going. It'd be such a minuscule impact. Alan, how stupid are you? Balakay is one of your most devoted content creators, and you're threatening him? You're threatening your own player base because they can acknowledge that your game lacks simple quality of life to keep it from succeeding? Like, Crusaders is in a pretty good spot right now. They are, and I'm looking at the homepage, I believe the second most played tower defense game on the platform in terms of anime. You have Vanguards at number 1, you got Crusaders at number 2. It looks like right now we got Guardians and Last Stand kind of tied. And then you got UTD in last place. However, UTD's coming out with an update tomorrow, so I'm sure they'll shoot up. But you don't do that to your player base. You don't threaten them. And then you don't lie on stream when it comes to quality of life. Because kind of towards the end of the video, what was it? Balakay says, Alan, why don't you let the community decide? If you're not going to listen to me, listen to your own community. Put out a poll. Put my response and your response and see which one people prefer. Do they prefer being misled by the pity and not having it displayed? Or do they prefer getting a dopamine rush? And Alan goes, okay, I'll do that. This video came out a week ago. There hasn't been a poll even questioning that. Instead, there have been multiple polls asking what length of stage people prefer playing. And there's not even an option for like a minimum of 15. It's like a minimum of 30 through like 80. And people responded 30. And the developers were angry. They said, no, you don't understand. We like longer stages. Shut up. Listen to your community for once. Like, you guys are holding the number 2 spot right now. And it's only because every other game sucks. ALS just completely destroyed their own game. Guardians is in a bit of a identity crisis right now. UTD is just waiting for its next update because it's very boring and they lack quality of life. Same issue as Crusaders. And Vanguards is the only thing standing at the top. Even though I do not like the remodels, their game is still pretty good. So that's all I have to say about Crusaders at the moment. They're going to be having a Dragon Ball update. Their trailer just dropped while I'm recording this. And UTD will be having an update tomorrow. I'll be covering that. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Yeah. Just be wary of the people that are leading your games.